commissioners for all the help that we've gotten throughout this year. And I don't know if you guys know, but Lunar New Year just happened, and we wanted to bring a lot of our culture to Ocoee. And I do want to do a quick shout out. There are some people here that we want to introduce. And we do have one of the performers who does live here in Ocoee as well too. Where is he at? There we go. Awesome. And we also have the venerable and the nuns from the Buddhist temple across the street as well too. So if you guys could stand as well. Awesome. Yeah. So we're local too. So, but then now I would like to introduce Derek, who is the leader of the Dynamics Lion Dance team.
Well, I would first like to thank Mayor Rusty Johnson for allowing us to come out and perform for you all. And I would like to thank Dr. Tran as well for giving us this opportunity. So a little bit about line dancing. Line dancing is a cultural performance where we get under these costumes, and it's supposed to bring good luck and prosperity to those who are near it, and it's supposed to shoo away all the bad juju that may come. We typically perform at grand openings, at weddings for the new year. So it's a really fun and exciting performance. It consists of routines, drums, cymbals, acrobatics, and the red envelopes also is a symbol of good luck and prosperity. And you guys could also feed the lions the red envelopes as well for some good luck. So without further ado, I would like to welcome up the Dynamics Line Dance team as they set up for the performance.
Dynamics, all in. It is over, but it's not completely over just yet. If you guys wanted to join us afterwards at Mr. J Hand Pull Noodles, it's right next door to the Publix Silver Star. Awesome. Thank you guys so much for being here.
Thank you. We're going now? Yeah. All right, we're going to start the February 7th meeting. We'll have call to order. The invocation will be led by Brad Lomneck, Pledge of Allegiance by Commissioner Firstner, and then a roll call. Everybody please stand.
Dear Lord, Heavenly Father, thank you for this day, Lord God. Thank you for our commissioners and mayors that do the work in the city, Lord. Please protect our first responders. Please protect our citizens, Lord. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
And
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, Commissioner Brunson,
Here.
Commissioner Wilson,
Here.
Mayor Johnson,
Here.
Commissioner Furstner,
Here.
Commissioner Oliver.
Here.
That's kind of interesting, wasn't it?
Great.
Get everything going. All right, we're going to have a proclamation for Black History Month. I will read it off here. I tell you what, I'm going to let Commissioner Brinson read it. Is that okay with you?
I'll fix your monitor.
Yes, why, we have a little technical difficulties here.
That's that thing.
That was easy. Okay. Proclamation of the City of Ocoee, Florida, whereas Black History Month is celebrated annually in February across the United States. It serves as a celebration of African American achievements and a crucial role they had in U.S. history, as well as time to recognize the severe adversities generations of Black Americans had to overcome to achieve legitimate citizenship in our society. And whereas in 1926, Dr. Carter G. Woodson and the Association for the Study of African American Life and History sponsored a National Negro History Week, choosing the second week of February to coincide with the birthdays of Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass. By the late 1960s, the week-long celebration evolved into Black History Month, calling our attention to the continued need to battle racism and build a society that lives up to the democratic ideas. Whereas the city of Ocoee continues to work towards becoming an inclusive community in which all residents are respected and recognized for their contributions and potential contributions to our community. And whereas the city of Ocoee established the Human Relations Diversity Board to promote understanding, respect, goodwill, and equality among all citizens and businesses of the city of Ocoee since its inception 18 years ago. The HRDB has worked with the city, hosting annual events promoting Black History Month, and whereas the city of Ocoee recognized MLK Day in a parade and celebration honoring the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and whereas residents can tune into historical civics rights segments on Ocoee TV, channel 493, to watch programs that highlight significant people and events from African American history. Citizens may also visit the Black History Month Wall of Fame in City Hall to view biographical portraits of notable African Americans. Now therefore it be resolved by the City Commission of the City of Ocoee does hereby proclaim or declare the month of February 2023 as Black History Month. The city shall celebrate the vibrant culture and achievements of African Americans have contributed to our country this month and throughout the year. We urge our residents to celebrate this heritage and continue to fight for equality and opportunity for all. In witness hereof, the mayor has set unto his hand and caused the seal of the city of Ocoee, Florida, to be affixed this 7th day of February 2023. Signed, Rusty Johnson, Mayor.
Thanks, sir. Appreciate it very much. Well, we have the Black History, I think the proclamation hanging in the,
It's on display in the
Okay.
lobby on our
All right.
electrical.
staff reports.
Mayor, staff would like to pull item 10 this evening to be brought back at the next commission meeting or the one after that.
All right. All right, public comments. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to start with Mr. Moyer. 3 minutes. We have a 3-minute talk in this, so we'll turn the speaker on for 3 minutes. Mr. Moyer.
Yes, sir.
Oh.
PowerPoint, sir.
Can we get some IT support?
No, this is fine.
Let's start the clock in. We can fix it to Mr. Moyer.
Pardon me?
Nothing, that's all right.
Sorry.
Hot in here.
Can I speak on this one? Yes. Good evening. Tolerance is forever a work in progress, never complicated, and if we're as intelligent as we would like to think we are, never abandoned. That's Octavia E. Butler, and she was speaking before the United Nations Conference on Racism. This is a quick example of inclusion and diversity. Lunar New Year and Black History Month. Knowledge is a treasure, but practice is the key to it. That's Lao Tzu, ancient Chinese philosopher about 2,500 years ago. Much more recently, education is a passport to the future. For tomorrow belongs to the people who are prepared for it today. That's Malcolm X. Lunar New Year, it's based on the lunar calendar. It's either in January or February. Based on the number of people that celebrate Lunar New Year, it's the largest celebration in the world. It's also the largest annual human migration in the world. People come from all over to go back to their hometowns where they were born to celebrate Lunar New Year. Celebrated in the East and Southeast with some exceptions such as Thailand. It goes by different names. Chokchi, the Spring Festival in China, Tiet, which we just saw a presentation of Tiet, which is means the first day of the year or festival in Vietnamese, and Salol. It goes by several names in Korea, but and the Lunar New Year is over 4,000 years, and I'm losing time, so I need to go very fast. Xintian Kuai is Chinese Happy New Year. Chok Mung Namoi is Vietnamese. Black History Month. The colors of Black History Month: red is for blood, yellow is from the Ethiopian flag, the only country that was not settled by colonialism. Green is for the greenery of Africa, and black is for African nobility. Since the 2023 theme for this year is Black Resistance, from the historic resistance. I'm almost out of time. Again, Negro History Week began in 1926. I point out here on the slide that Dr. King was born in 1929 and he was assassinated in 1968. And I mention that because a lot of young people in particular ask, well, why isn't Black History Month in January, Dr. King's birthday? Well, it's in February because the predecessor to Black History Month began before Dr. King was born. It's pretty much it. I'm running out of time. Thank you for your kindness. Black History Month, these are some of the names and faces of famous African Americans. Thank you so much for your time, and God bless all of you.
Thank you, Mr. Moyer. Tom Lowry?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Commissioners. Appreciate the time and opportunity to address the Chamber. I'm here representing Post 63 over in Winter Garden, American Legion. And it's short notice, and I apologize for that, but we just got things firmed up this past week. And we are presenting a commemorative program that addresses the 4 chaplains. It's been around for a lot of years. The Legion has been a sponsor. It is a story of 4 chaplains that sacrificed their lives in World War II. They were on a troop carrier in the North Atlantic, and it just so happens that 80 years ago, this past Friday, that troop carrier was torpedoed and sunk in a very short period of time. There were 902 officers and men on board that ship. Of the 902, 230 survived. So as the witnesses bore the story of the 4 chaplains, as these men, and we're talking 18, 19, 20-year-old men that were probably the first time away from their homes, in the pitch black, totally disoriented, ships going down, panic. Think about that. And here are 4 men. There was 2 Protestant preachers. There was a rabbi and a Catholic priest. They all joined hands. They opened lockers. They distributed life jackets, and they gathered on the bow of the ship. And as the ship went down, they gave their life jackets to 4 sailors or soldiers. They put their arms around one another. They sang praises, and together they sacrificed. So anyway, the story of the 4 chaplains, that's a very, very abbreviated story. We are presenting the full story of that event this Friday evening at 6 o'clock, First Baptist Church on Plant Street in Winter Garden. We did it last year, and it was successful. This year, we're trying to get more of the youth involved. And so anyway, you're all welcome. I look forward to seeing you. It is a very touching, meaningful, my brother here. And I extend, we had Commissioner Brinson attend last year, and I think he can speak volumes to that. And like I say, we're bringing more of the youth and getting more involvement. So I thank you for the time. And if there's any questions, I'll try to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lowry. God bless you, sir. Victoria Laney.
Thank you. I'm chair of the Orange County Community Development Advisory Board, and we have the pleasure of allocating millions of dollars. We recommend millions of dollars that go to different municipalities and neighborhoods. Hope Ocoee will apply this year, but meanwhile, I get involved in some of the neighborhoods, so I've become very involved in Pine Hills, and I'm just so grateful to Joy Wright and Curtis Moser of the community relations staff, because they really helped me invite the residents of Pine Hills to come over and attend the Martin Luther King Day Parade. I think it's the first year we had, for example, the Pine Hills seniors participate, and we also had a Corvette group from there. And they were so happy to be welcomed and invited. And I feel like we're writing the next chapter in the history of Ocoee through our outreach to them. And so I just want to recognize them and thank you to all of you for what you do. And that's all.
Thank you very much, Ms. Laney.
Thank you.
All right. Mr. Robert Ugasi.
I've lived here, Ocoee, for 29 years, in the same area, Sleepy Harbor on East Lakeshore Drive. And it's been an ongoing issue as far as people parking their boats out in the yard, driveway. We have one gentleman that's actually set up his business at the house, and nobody wants to confront him or other people in our neighborhood. Even on code enforcement, when you come down to talk to them, they now want your name and phone number, and nobody wants to be a meanie about it. I just wonder if there's some way to kind of change the policies to require these code enforcers to go out and actually look around to see if somebody's not abiding by the city rules. This funny thing is, where I live on East Lake Shore Drive, there was 2 pools put in last year, and the inspector's been out looking at the pools every other day. And meanwhile, they'll drive by these places where people have trash in their yard, boats parked in their driveway. It's an ongoing issue, and I would like to see somebody take it and see if they could, as far as basically enforcing the rules or the laws of Ocoee. I guess that's all I have to say.
I'm gonna let Commissioner Wilson comment. Stop the clock.
I do understand your concern. I see them. One of the drawbacks is last year legislature unfortunately imposed the requirement that you must leave a name and address of the person who is making the complaint. I have gone around myself and made complaints to code enforcement, put my name down. It is a difficult situation because I understand living in the neighborhood and I know exactly what you're talking about. But unfortunately, legislature has done that to us.
Yes,
And
yes.
no matter how much we have gone up there and tried to fight, it doesn't work. Unfortunately, I don't know why they made that decision, but they did. And I'd like to bring it back to them again, saying this is wrong. We don't need this. The unfortunate problem, it pits one neighbor against the other.
Well, that's
Yeah,
what,
and
that's what
that's-
you're forcing us to do.
Well, I hate to say it, we aren't, but the legislature has done that to us.
The
And-
police are forced to go out, catch speeders or set up speed traps, to keep the speeding down to a limit. But I just don't understand these code enforcements that don't go out and kind of look around to see what's going on and address it.
One aspect of code enforcement, which I've learned over the years, is that the code enforcement can, I call it coding someone, they go out, send them the letters, but they give them a certain amount of time to clean up. If they don't, the code enforcement board may impose a fine. Those fines add up. I've seen properties, and we've seen properties up here, they come back to us with $50,000 and $60,000 in fines that they want us to reduce. Sometimes there is a lien against that property that you may not know about. And that does happen. And
Yes.
they will impose a lien. Enforcing someone to clean it up is one thing, but sometimes the only avenue we have is to put a lien against the property.
Okay,
Anybody else?
thank you.
I just have just a quick comment. It sounds as if, I know we are restricted by legislation. When it comes to reporting this, you have to report your name, and again, it causes ill will for neighbors to do that from time to time. But what I think I hear you saying, and I just want to make sure, some clarification, you just actually want to be able to maybe give a tip, to say, here's a tip on something that you might want to look at, as opposed to leaving your name and have code enforcement at least just go take a look at it. Is that what you're asking, or?
Well, I and a lot of the neighbors don't want to be the meanie to go out and confront people that have the boats parked in front of their yard or to the side of their yard. It's an ongoing issue. There is a lot of people are trying to clean up their yards. They bought into the neighborhood, and the neighborhood's starting to look pretty good, but it only takes 4 or 5 people, or 2 or 3 people, to trash the neighborhood. And that's basically what we have.
I take you, there's no HOA, right?
Pardon?
Is there HOA?
Yes, there is, but they have very weak laws as far as what to do. I mean, I don't think back in the 70s, when they made the laws, they didn't think it was going to be such a ongoing issue with people coming in and trashing their yards.
Okay. I guess my question then would be, since there is a HOA, this may be for the city manager, is it possible for the HOA to file the complaint as opposed to an individual person?
Not that I know of. All I know is if you come to the code enforcement and report it, you have to give your name, phone number, and address.
So the association cannot, well, I guess.
It is.
The question's for the city manager.
Yeah, typically it's their manager or the business person who's running the association. We would need their name and contact information also.
Which would be the HOA management company?
Correct.
Okay. So again, if you needed to file a complaint and it got so bad that it's a possibility that the HOA management company can actually file the complaint using their name, their address, for your community.
The problem is when you don't have a management company, when you're managed by your residents.
Well, in this case, they have an HOA. That's what I'm saying. We're dealing with their issue right now. That might be something to consider.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want to make a comment on that. The problem with code enforcement is, sir, it doesn't just being notified to the city. We have 4 or 5, how many now, Rob?
4.
We got 4 code enforcement officers that ride around writing up this stuff. But the problem is, it goes through the 30-day notice. After the 30-day notice, it comes to the city and they fine them. The problem with the whole deal is, even if you fine them, they don't have to move the stuff. The problem is, I don't know if that's state is the one that rules this stuff, but nobody calls their legislators. We're catching the flack from people because they're doing exactly what you're talking about, but they will not move them. You know, if you go write them up for we had a guy the other day, he had a semi-trailer and a truck in a neighborhood up on the hill, backed in and parked all the way from the front to the backyard. We wrote him up, give him a notice, but you can't force them until they get,
To move, to actually.
yeah.
Yes.
So we got 4 code enforcement officers that spread out over the city. And I guarantee if you go to a code meeting, you'll see when they do that, they fine them, for instance, $200 a day or $250 a day. They know we have a house up here on Lakewood that's over $1 million, over $1 million in code violations. But you cannot force them to do anything, and they know it. So we all have to work towards maybe putting a little more force towards the state legislators and trying to solve that problem. So I know it doesn't help what you're talking about, but if the neighborhood, maybe some of in the homeowners meeting or something would bring them and talk to them too and say, hey, this is your neighborhood and our neighborhood, we want to try to get it cleaned up. So, but also, I would say let's all write our state legislators and see if we can get something out of them to change this law. Plus, why they did the other one, I don't know, but they're up in Tallahassee. They're not here catching the flack from people.
Well, one last question I have. If I have a boat in my driveway and I have my neighbor come in, code enforcement, to notify I have a boat in my driveway, can he or can I go down and find out who snitched on me? Okay.
Public record.
Now you can.
Yeah.
It is
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, sir.
Wish we had a better answer.
All right, that's all the speaker comments. We're going to move to consent agenda.
I'll make the motion to approve consent agenda.
Motion made.
Poll number 10.
Oh, I'm
10
sorry. We got to pull number 10
We're pulling number
for
10.
next meeting. So we got, what is it? It starts with 3. What happened to 1 and, oh.
Well, then 1 and 2 is the proclamation.
Oh, all right, so that's wrong. We got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, and 12. Motion made by Commissioner Wilson. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Ferschner. All right, any comments? No, let's vote.
Yeah, I'd like to pull item number 7.
All right. All right. We're
Wait a
going,
minute.
first,
Hold on.
first thing we're gonna do is go ahead and vote on the, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8,
I also-
9, 11, and, wait a minute.
Hold on for a second. I also like to pull number 8 as well.
All right. All right, we're gonna, we're gonna vote for 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 11, and 12. The motion made by Commissioner Wilson, do I hear a second? Seconded by Commissioner Firster. Let's vote on that one. Motion carries unanimously. All right, Commissioner Oliver.
I just have a couple of questions on item number 7 as we're pulling, I think it was a total of 118.5 that we're pulling for the music festival. Is that correct? Or was it 115? See, I'm looking at my notes here. Okay, but the question I have is, I was looking through the budget book and I was looking for those funds as to where they were coming from for the music festival. We're moving this money. We're going to approve we're asking to approve this movement of funds, but I was trying to figure out where it came from. If you can actually just point me out in the book, because when I saw the music festival, there is a line item for the music festival, and I was wondering, it showed 0, but so where was it actually located in the actual budget book? In our budgets, the funding that we're asking for. So I know we voted to fund it, but I just want to know where was it at?
Mr. Oliver, we budget for the music festival as a transfer out of $115,000. After we approve the budget at the beginning of the year, I'm sorry, Rebecca Roberts, Director of Finance, I forget to introduce myself, I apologize. So at the beginning of the fiscal year, we moved the $115,000 contribution to the music festival from the general fund into a separate fund that's used strictly for the operation of the music festival, Fund 615. And within Fund 615, we account for all of the revenues and expenditures of the music festival.
Okay, so we have a line item that says music festival in the budget book, right here. And that line item says 0. So my question is, if we allocated $115,000 for the music festival, why didn't we just put it under the music festival in the budget book?
Because when I put it under music festival, there's a lot of accounting gyrations to go through. So a couple of years ago, we began putting it under transfers out, music festival, because we don't let it sit in the general fund. In order to account for it properly and to discreetly account for it and not to commingle it with general fund, additional general fund dollars and the expenditures with general fund expenditures, we move it into a separate fund, fund number 615. And we hold it there, pardon me, and we run all of the additional revenues that are generated by the music festival and all of the expenditures for the music festival out of Fund 615.
Okay, so again, maybe I'm just a little confused because we allocated $115,000 for the music festival, correct?
Yes, sir, you did.
And we put it into a general fund. That's where we put it, and you said it was under a transfers out.
Transfers out
Okay,
with a subline that says music festival.
well, okay. I found some transfers out, but I didn't see the subline music festival in the budget book. I didn't see that. So maybe you can point me out on what page that may be on. But nonetheless, it's still, for me, the confusing part is, if we know we're allocating it for the music festival, why didn't we just put it there? I heard you use the word discreet, and again, discreet to me means quietly. So with that, it confuses me because again, if I'm going to have my brakes repaired and I have a budget for getting my brakes repaired, I'm not going to put it under having my plumbing done in my house. I'm just going to simply just put it on the budget to have my brakes repaired. So to me, it just seems that it was a little, you know what I'm saying, it's confusing to have this much money put somewhere without identifying where it's truly going. You
Two
have to
things.
search and hide, you have to search for it in here.
Okay, two things. In this case, discrete, I mean separate, individualized, separately identified and separately accounted for. During the budget presentation, the budget hearings, we called out to the commissioners, all of you, where we had budgeted for the music festival. That was a topic of conversation. So it was pointed out at that time, and there's a subline. The subline may not be presented in the actual book, but it was called out during the budget hearing to all of the commissioners.
Yeah, we can say a lot of things, but when you put it on paper, when you put it out, that's when it's on record as to, we can go back and look at this at any time.
It's in your
But-
transfers
but with-
outline,
with-
sir.
With us having discussion and not putting it on paper, then you can see where the problem lies there, because I can't find it, because it wasn't written out that way. So again, I mean, we can kick this can down the road all
I can
night,
understand
but
your concern, so I will be certain that in the 2023-2024 budget, that it will be very easily identified within the budget and ensure that it is called out to everyone who attends the budget hearing so that you will be able to call out the page number.
yeah, I mean, it's all about transparency. So again, transparency in this should have been put under the budget for the music festival as opposed to zero. So, that's the only question that I have for you concerning this item. Also, on the music festival, we typically have the music festival when, it's not for you, I'm sorry. From when I look back, we typically have the music, I'm sorry.
Director Roberts, can you stop and come back? 'Cause I want to ask a question on this. Sure. Because I know during the budget workshop, if you don't mind, Mr. Mayor, I actually pointed this out where that money was parked. And so my concerns, based on what Commissioner Oliver is saying, is my concern is only for transparency for the public. I know we may have called it out here, but the public is, if they look through their budget and they can't find it, they're gonna say, well, where's this money? Because the Ocoee Music Festival, or any event we have, has a zero next to it. So, did I hear you say that going forward, you would break it out into?
I'll clearly label it music festival for you. I'll clearly label it music festival, but it will still fall under transfers out. And understand that the reason it falls under transfers out is that it's an accounting mechanism. If I put it up in a different line item, I cannot move that money easily into the fund that was designed for the accounting for the music festival.
Right, yeah, and I understand that. I just want to make sure that the public understands that. So they're not saying, well, you guys are hiding money or, misusing money. So, and it's for any event. It's not.
Right, and as far as hiding money, anytime anyone wants to see, I can show the transaction in which we took the 115,000 from the general fund and moved it into Fund 615, which is only for the use of tracking revenues and expenditures for the music festival.
Thank you.
Commissioner Wilson.
I'm sorry.
I was gonna say
Commissioner
something.
Wilson is next.
I know that during the
I wasn't
budget, we discussed this. I mean, this is very obvious. It's in the budget. We discussed the $115,000. That's no secret to me. I just find it very valuable, and I'll just say this, is that a lot of times, we love to talk about transparency. Anyone who wants to know anything, we're more than transparent. But the other aspect is that I spend my week before a meeting to call the different departments, call the city manager, to get this information so that we could, if you had a question, you could present it to everyone on the screen, showing where that money is. And to me, it's very valuable to go ahead and make my calls early in the week so that we have the information to present to our residents so they can see it. So I'm just advocating for that I think it's very important for us as commissioners. And I hope that we've all made our phone calls during the week to clarify anything on the agenda, so we can present it to our residents. Because I believe in transparency, and I believe we are very transparent.
All right, Commissioner Oliver.
Oh, okay. So we talk about, again, I appreciate what Commissioner Wilson was saying, and she's absolutely right. Unfortunately, there are some residents that just would like to see transparency in the open as opposed to a phone call behind the scenes and then try to get to 12,000 residents. So we talk about accounting principles of transfer out as a mechanism, but also with that same accounting principle, there has to be transfers in. So we have not mentioned anything about transfers in. So accounting mechanism deals with balance. So you have transfers out, there has to be a transfers in. So which again, I haven't seen that either. So if there's a transfer out, what would be the transfer in, or what would actually identify that as money coming in as we move it out?
The transfer out, in governmental accounting, a transfer out is an expenditure. So once I've transferred the money out, it becomes an expenditure of the general fund. If you look at Fund 615, which I have provided to many of the commissioners, the accounting of that fund, you will see the transfer in going in. That represents a revenue to that fund. We do not present that fund in the budget book because that fund is only for the purposes of the music festival, and other revenues and expenditures in that fund are not governmental expenditures, and they are not governmental revenues, so therefore we do not present them in the budget book. The revenues that come in to the Music Festival 615 fund are for the specific use in conducting the music festival. It would be misleading to the public if I were to budget the music festival expenditures and revenues in the general fund. It would appear that those funds are for general purpose use, and they are not for general purpose use of the government.
So so you're saying this is all private funds that's coming in? This is all private, nothing, there's no tax dollars intermingled in this, in
The
the
only
615?
tax dollars that go in there is the contribution of $115,000 to the music festival from the city.
Okay, so that's how it actually flows through. So if I want to donate, I just donate, give it to the city, it goes through 615.
It goes to
It comes in, then it just goes out to be spent for
For
the music
615,
festival.
correct.
Okay, thank you,
Correct.
that answers my question. The last thing I have concerning the music festival is the timing of the music festival. That's not for you. So the timing of the music festival is March 10th and 11th. And we typically have it April or May. This year, we're doing it 10th and 11th, which is 3 days before an election. So again, I have a problem with that because we have candidates that's running for office that would take center stage, that could possibly be construed as a campaign cry or can be construed as a campaign rally for a particular candidate because we're having it 2 days before an election. So again, some may agree, some may disagree, but it's okay because we all have our opinions. But nonetheless, yes, that is my, I do feel that there is definitely some mechanisms here to have this right before, and you're taking tax dollars, $115,000 tax dollars, and we're using that toward the music festival, which I love the music festival. I go to the music festival. But to have the music festival right before an election when there's a candidate that can take center stage, then I think that that is quite divisive. So again, that's what I have to say about it, and that's all the questions that I have.
I'll make a comment. I would hope that our candidates would not be using the music festival as a tool, and that goes for everyone, not just, I think, the one you're focusing on. And we used to have it in October, November, then it got changed. And because of when it landed in November, so then it was moved to March. I don't recall it being April or May because it's so hot. We have not done it during those months. So I think no matter when you do it, someone's going to find issue with it. And I also believe, having been on that committee years ago, that you have to work with when the, I don't want to call them stars, when the artists are available. And that's all done, because it was supposed to be, it would have been the spring fling. But this time, the artists were available during this period of time. That would be my understanding. So I don't see where, I would hope that our candidates would not use this as a tool and be professional.
All right, need a motion, Commissioner.
I'll be happy to make the motion. I'm sorry.
Keep those on my lights.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
I'm not going to make the motion because I don't agree with it.
Okay, that's fine. Commissioner Wilson?
I'll make the motion to approve items number 7 and We didn't talk about 8, I'm sorry, I'll talk right now. Someone
Let's
asked for
vote
8
for
to be
7
7, make the motion to approve number 7.
Motion made by Commissioner Wilson for item 7.
Second.
Music Fest, do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Firstner. No more comments, let's vote. Motion carries with Commissioner Oliver voting no. All right, number 8. Need a motion.
Oh, number 8, item number 8. Yes, before we make a motion, I do have just a question. Seems like this is something that we definitely need for the skate park. We're budgeting for a pedestrian entrance for the skate park, sounds like this is something that we really need. The question I have is, which I have not got a chance to see the original renderings, and I guess in the original renderings, there was not a entrance for the pedestrians to come in. It was just the folks that's actually going to skate. So can you describe this entrance as far as where it's going to be and why do we need it?
So, good evening, Mark Johnson, Parks and Rec Director. So the entrance to the skate park, it was in some of the renderings. It's the contract we have with the skate company. They're actually building the pump track currently, and the skate park is coming. They're going to start that in probably 2 weeks. But the entrance off the road, off the street, off of, I think it's Armstrong Alley, there's a concrete entrance that's stamped and looked like brick with a big sign and some landscaping that wasn't in the scope of the project for the skate park. So we needed additional funding that way it ties in the entrance to get to the actual skate park itself.
Okay.
That's all.
That's the only question I had.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I make a motion that we approve item number 8.
Motion made by Commissioner Oliver for item number 8, transfer funds for the Parks and Recreation Skate Park. Any more comments? If not, let's vote.
We need a second.
Second, I thought we had a second.
I'll second that.
Second by Commissioner Firstner, let's vote. Motion carries unanimously. All right, first reading of ordinance, none. Second reading of ordinance, none. Public hearing, none. Regular agenda, item number 13, appointment of members to the 2023 Canvassing Board. City Clerk Melanie Sibbett.
Good evening. So the item before the commission is for the appointment of the canvassing board. We had followed what was done in previous elections, which was anyone, the commission that was not on the ballot for the election, as well as the mayor would appoint 3 citizens to serve on the board. We are asking if, the commission can provide names by February 17th, as we were told by the Supervisor of Elections Office that there is some training that they want the canvassing board members to attend, and we want to make sure that we are able to get the canvassing board to attend the training as well as be ready for the March 14th election and the certification of the election on March 17th. So currently, staff is just recommending for the mayor, Commissioner Wilson, and Commissioner Oliver each to appoint a member to the 2023 canvassing board.
Can you give them the time of that? You have the time frame that works? Because there's 2 different times you got to be there.
Correct. So for the March 14th election night, the canvassing board members will need to be there from 4 to 7. And on Friday, March 17th, the canvassing board members would need to be there at 2 p.m. to certify the election.
What time Friday?
2 p.m.
2?
And the training that the Supervisor of Elections Office is recommending is a video that we can send to the members so they would be able to watch it. And I think it provides them with a certificate that they can provide to our office so that we would know that they attended the training.
Okay.
And you say from 4 to
So
7?
on election night, it's up until the end of election,
Okay.
7 p.m. So 4 to 7.
All right, thank you.
You want me to, I already know who I'm going to
Go ahead and tell her.
appoint. Mr. Laurie, Tom Laurie
Okay.
from District 2.
So the way the charter, your seat would have been on the ballot, so the way the charters, you don't need to do anything. Sorry, that's your question, okay.
I'll give you mine probably tomorrow.
Okay, and
Right.
by February 17th,
Yeah.
Commissioner Oliver?
Or by
Yeah,
then.
I have it for you.
Perfect, thank you.
All right. Item number 14, appointment of members to the Human Relations Diversity Board. City Clerk Melanie Sibbett. You bringing that up?
I have a comment
Sorry.
when that time comes.
Did you, good evening, Melanie Sibbett. So for this item, it's the carry forward because it was actually tabled from the last meeting. I have presented what applications we have received and haven't heard from, well, no, I take it back. I've heard from one commissioner who has indicated who their nominee is, and that's Commissioner Brenson, and he was going to share that the applicant for District 1 is who he would be recommending for that district as the, his recommendation for a board member.
I'd like to just make a
Okay,
comment.
go ahead.
I know I asked for it to be tabled the last meeting, and at this point, I think it's highly inappropriate for us at this point, because with, let's use District 1, Commissioner Brinson not being reelected, I think it's time for the person who does start, who is the one who is elected to that seat, would have the opportunity to appoint the person from their district, and I think that follows down the line, because right now, I'm
Yeah.
the only one that's not in a position of an election, which I'm very happy about, thank you. But I think it's highly inappropriate. I think that the new commissioners who come in those seats, or the mayor, I'm going to be very neutral here, I think they should have the right to put someone in for the 2-year term, instead of the folks who may be leaving that position. And I'm not saying anything about whether you're leaving or being reelected. I'm just saying I think that we should extend that courtesy to the person coming in. So I'm asking for it to be tabled till after the elections.
You make a motion for that?
I'll be happy to make that motion.
All right.
If that's acceptable by,
All right, Commissioner Wilson's making a motion to postpone it till the election. Then we get a second, then we can comment more on it. Do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Commissioner Forster. All right, any comments?
I have a couple of comments. And I understand Commissioner Wilson's stance on this, and I absolutely do not agree with it, and these are the reasons why. First reason is this should have been done back in December. That's the first reason. And we held it off to January and then gave another extension. We are here to conduct the business of the city. As long as we're here, I will not be a lame duck commissioner. I refuse to be. It is highly inappropriate to even make that suggestion, as well as this. And if we here are going to follow Robert's Rules of Order, the only time you are to table anything is when you have an emergency of something that's more pressing. And we do not have an emergency that's more pressing. So to table this matter again, we shouldn't have tabled it the first time, but to table this matter again is actually breaking the rules in which we are to follow.
All right, I just asked the city lawyer, and you want to make a comment on that?
Sure. Commissioner, I'm not aware of any, a board has the authority to table any item that comes up for, as long as there's a reason to do it. And I think Commissioner Wilson has indicated a reason. I'm not aware of any violation of Robert's rules to table an item on an agenda with some kind of basis for doing so.
Right, and if we could take a moment, because I know we have Robert Rules of Order books up here on the dais, or if you can look it up on the internet and Google it, it will tell you specifically that it is inappropriate to table an item when there's not an emergency item that trumps it. No pun intended.
All right, so anybody else? Commissioner, you looking that up?
Yep.
Just listening to what Commissioner Wilson's saying, it does have some validity in what she's saying. However, whether you're running for office or not, we're still here to discharge a duty, and that duty should be done. Whether we're here a day, a week, or a year, it doesn't matter. So the incoming commissioners or mayor should take what's given to them by the outgoing administration, because right now we have a duty to discharge, and it is our duty to do so. So this has been tabled for quite some time. There are members from each district that has put in applications. There is members that have been placing information in our emails and inboxes about why they should be candidates. I have gotten information concerning diversity and inclusion. I mean, pages and pages and pages from members that want to sit on this board, but yet and still, we're still kicking this can down the road. And we have the authority, we have the ability to make a decision tonight and not wait a week or 2 weeks or a month. So my input would be to actually take this to the vote tonight and appoint these members that's been waiting to sit on this board, and let's move on. And whomever's up here after March 14th, they will be the ones to continue to discharge those duties.
All right, the lawyer has a comment.
Yeah, I just wanted to address Commissioner Brinson. Looked up, I think what you're referring to is the tabling an item that's before the commission. And that, in this instance, what this is referring to is supplanting an item that's on the agenda, replacing it with, moving something ahead of it, or putting it in its place. Or when you come up on an item, you're moving it to a different place in the agenda to address another item of more importance. And that's where the item that is replacing the item being tabled has to be an emergency item. So here, we're not talking about moving it, we're not moving it in the agenda to put another item in its place. We're talking about continuing the discussion to another meeting, which we do all the time, which we've done on this item at least once. So maybe tabling is not the correct terminology, but continuing the item to a future meeting would probably be more appropriate for the motion.
All right, we have a motion and a second, right?
I'll make the motion
Huh?
I'll make with the
Did
correct
you make the
terminology.
second, Commissioner?
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson needs to clarify her motion.
I'd make the motion that we will change the language to that we will continue. Is that,
We're going to continue the item until the commission agenda following the election, whether that's the general election or the special election.
There's a second.
That's suitable.
All right.
No, I have a comment.
All right.
Right now, the HRDB is in limbo. Actually, it's not even, some members of the HRDB doesn't even consider themselves in limbo. They consider themselves not a board at all. So they're not conducting any business whatsoever, none. And so now we're saying to this board, because we can't make a vote, that they can't conduct the business of the advisory board in which they sit on. I don't know why people don't find that problematic. That is problematic. The board, the last time the HRDB met, if I'm not mistaken, they said they would not vote on anything because they wasn't sure of the outcome of their status. And here we are trying to push this down the road again. That is, I don't understand that. And I will look further into the Robert Rules of Order, and, because I think that's incorrect.
All right, we're gonna, vote. You got all in favor of, continuing this till after the, March 14th, which would be the 21st, I think. So, let's vote. Motion carries 3-2. Commissioner Brinson and Commissioner Oliver vote no. All right, comments from citizens or public. If you haven't filled out a form, you want to talk, you'll have to fill out a form. All right, fill out a form, come up. 3 minutes.
Brad Lomnack, Veronica Place. Commissioner Brinson, I did exactly what you asked. I went to Google. Using Robert's rules, action on a pending question may be postponed to another time. Alternatively, a motion can be postponed until a specific event has occurred, such as after an officer makes a relevant report. That is directly from Robert's rules. I would also like to make a comment that, Music Fest has moved around through the years, different times of the year. It was in November, moved by request back to this time of year. And at the end of the day, the city doesn't make the date, the promoter does. The promoter has to get the stage. The promoter has to get the hands. He has to get the acts. They can't just say, well, there's an election this week, so let's see if, Derek Bentley or Lee Bryce or Joan Jett can come the next week instead. It just doesn't work like that. I would also ask Commissioner Oliver, if you think that way so much and you've made it tonight to where you voted against the Music Fest, I would ask that you don't attend and you don't ask for 30 to 24 wristbands for the VIP that you normally ask for every year. So
I think that's highly inappropriate.
I'm
Wait,
a
hold on,
citizen.
hold
It's
on.
my
No,
3
no,
minutes,
no,
right?
no.
Just wait a minute.
Come on,
He's
Mr.
got
Mayor.
3 minutes, Commissioner.
But you should not allow inappropriate behavior.
Commissioner.
That's not civility.
Because I live here and I've been going every year since he's
That's
been
not
here.
civility.
It's,
That is not civil.
I live here.
That's it. Hey, sir, you cannot talk from the audience. Okay? Yeah, I'm telling everybody, you cannot talk from the audience.
I'm saying right now it's inappropriate.
Okay, you said it, sir. Good, okay, all right. I wouldn't doubt that one bit. All right. Finish
That's all
what
I
you're
have.
doing.
Thank you.
got- You done?
Yep.
Okay. All right, anybody else? Mr. Moy, fill out another form.
Yes, sir, I will.
People.
Mayor, Commissioners, I just want to mention the Black History Month essay that the children have done for many, many years. And it frankly just breaks my heart that they won't have an opportunity to do it this year unless the city's going to take it on.
Which one?
I'm going to bring something up about that during my comments.
The Black History Month essays that are done every February in conjunction with the schools.
Commissioner Wilton has a comment for that.
Would you like to stop the clock? I'll say something. I was going to bring it up during my comments.
I have, that's all I was going to say, period.
Okay.
She'll answer to,
Okay, right. Thank you. I have, during my comments, Mr. Moyer, I plan on saying something.
Thank you.
all right.
Thank you.
That's it. So we'll move to comment from commissioners. Commissioner Fursio.
The Citizens Public Safety Academy is going to be held April 5th through June 14th. It's every Wednesday night from 6 until 9 p.m. If you want more information on this, contact either the police department or the fire department, or go on the website of the city. All the information is there. you get to know what the different departments are like, their functioning and operations and everything. It's very informative. The Women's Club of Ocoee is going to host the political forum for both the commissioners and the mayor candidates. That's going to be February 15th and February 16th from 6:30 till 8:30 in the chambers here. You're all welcome to attend. It's open to the public. If you cannot attend, you can view it on Spectrum TV, channel 493, and you'll be able to call in questions. And lastly, the Healthy West Orange Wellness Park is going to have its grand opening on Tuesday, February 14th, Valentine's Day, at 10:30 in the morning. It's located at 1320 South Bluford Avenue, which is right across from the police station. You're all welcome to come out and be the first ones to take a lap around the wellness park and try out the exercise equipment. Thank you.
Mr. Brinson.
I have nothing, thank you.
Mr. Oliver.
The Clark Road widening project is, seems to be at a stall. I really need to get some clarity as to where we are on that project. I know we've gotten some updates that tell us we're about 90%, that we're about 90% in design for that particular project, but that's been for 6-8 months. And I really need some kind of clarity. I need some public clarity on that project. So do we have anyone here that can give us some information regarding the widening of Clark Road and when we're going to actually see some movement on the road?
Is Steve here?
He was here.
Steve, can you hear us in the back? Steve, would you come out front, please?
Here he comes. No.
That's Mike.
No, no. I was looking for him. Yes.
Steve, you lost some hair, Steve.
Yes. The final three items, the plans are at 90%, that's constructability. The final three items were just, the hurdles were just the engineer for the developer, Madden Engineering just came over the three hurdles. Hurdle number one was the original Clark Road stormwater ponds, the one that's just north of the fire station on the east side of Clark Road, and the pond that's just across from it on the west side of Clark Road. During the permitting, we thought we were golden, and they came back and said those two stormwater ponds were never a part of an original permit. They had no information on them. So we had to go back and do geotechnical and prove those ponds' capacity and construction, and that they have the capacity to hold what's there and the capacity to hold what is new. That permit by St. John's has been issued. The second hurdle was the adjacent to the new townhome development on the west side, sort of near Hackney Prairie. That grading of the road, they could not grade it to our satisfaction, so we had to design a new improvement to it. So initially it went pavement, green space, sidewalk, and the slope went down because that property is just at a different elevation with what the road is. And we have to go and do a wall. We had to come up with a new engineering design, a wall. This will be similar to what you see on Silver Star Road at the end of Ocoee Hills, where that subdivision, Lake Olympia, is along Silver Star. It has a different height. We have to do a wall and a railing to make it work. The third item is they just received the permit from Orange County for the intersection improvements at Claricona, Ocoee, and Clark Road. So since they've received all three, Lennar, who we've already paid all the money, we've contracted to do the job for us, they are putting it out to bid. And we hope to hear that soon.
So in layman's term, what does that mean?
In layman's term, we've been.
Time? When can we see some
In
movement
layman's
on that
term, yes,
project?
Commissioner, we've been working on this. The project for us has started. We've expended money with the engineer, with the permitting, but with the residents, they haven't seen dirt turn. In layman's terms, once Lennar gets their bids back and meets with us on those bids so we can go over and make sure they're not trying to help a buddy out, we've already paid the money. It's in escrow in an attorney's account that has a charge of paying that money out. They will tell us who they're selecting and move forward.
So typically, how long did it take for our?
Yes.
Obviously, there's a
Yeah,
time frame.
they don't have an RFP like we do.
Okay, so
So-
what is the time frame of the RFP that they put out?
We have a project update on Wednesday, and I'll have that, and I'll be able to supply that. I'm not, it's, Steve Krug may have it, but I'm just going off the best I have, Commissioner.
Okay, all right.
But yeah,
I
but
appreciate
I
it.
am happy to present those last 3 hurdles. They didn't want to gear, we wanted to gear up and go and get the whatever trees on the west side going, but they didn't want to mobilize. You can't find a site contractor to mobilize and then stop, and then mobilize and stop. That's the issue we're seeing up at the Ocoee Village development. They go one time. So when they got the kickback from St. John's to say these ponds were never permitted, okay, so we had to do all those hurdles. We knew the Orange County permit would be last. They're always like, they want to see it, they want to wait till everything's done, and then they permit it last. So we knew that one was going to be last, but they could start all the infrastructure work with that. But they just happened to all come together at once.
Okay.
And so we'll have an update. Thank you.
All right.
Yes, sir.
So hopefully, as we move forward for future projects, that we would start looking at mitigating risk from the beginning. And that seemed that was probably a risk at the beginning that we just kind of missed, but that's okay. It's about mitigating the risk.
The SWOT analysis on that, and as staff, we will say we will do a financial start date and a physical turn dirt start date. And,
Gotcha.
And put neither one on the board.
Thank you. Appreciate that. All right, so Claricone Ocoee Road and Ingham Road, the traffic light is just moving at snail's pace, as well as McCormick and Apopka Vineland Road. I know that's the county. They're moving about the same pace, which is they're not moving at all. So what I would like to propose is if we can possibly get a letter from the commission that we can send over to the county, their engineers, to say, can you guys expedite these programs? I know there's some things with some cabling. Is there any way we can just have some kind of formal letter from the commission to state that, yes, we are interested in expediting those 2 traffic lights? So again, is that something, Rob, that we can possibly do? So this is a question I have for you, Rob. If it's okay with the commission that we can get a letter to the county to say, hey, we've watched this project being kicked down the road. We really need this to be expedited.
Yeah, we can definitely do that. With the consensus, I'd recommend we send it to the mayor and copy the city or the county manager, not go directly to the engineers, so.
Gotcha. What do you guys, I guess that would be a consensus from the commission. Is that something that we can get done?
Thumbs up from one.
Good idea. Yeah.
It's not gonna
Great.
hurt. Yeah.
Awesome. That road, that just leads me right to my next point, is that speeding on that road, Claricone, Ocoee, and that Ingham Road coming around that corner. I sat on that corner for an hour one day and literally was sitting on the corner on the sidewalk and was literally scared to death as cars came around the corner. One car had to be doing almost 100 miles an hour coming around that corner, and I had to move back. So I'm hoping that we can start getting some speeding tickets on Claricone Ocoee Road. So I know the chief, I saw the chief here, and can we get the chief of police to come out to talk a little bit about speeding and how many tickets have we given in the past year on this road, and what is the plan to give out even more tickets as we move forward this year? I don't know if the chief, if you're listening, could you please come up here, please? Oh, I heard the door close. There we go.
Good evening. We are doing aggressive speeding enforcement, aggressive driving enforcement on that road right now. It's been going on for the past couple of weeks. They did give me some statistics, but offhand, I don't remember them. I can get them to you. But we are doing everything we can to enforce speed. We got the $65,000 grant from the state to do more speeding enforcement, so that's on top of our regular patrols. I might have missed a question coming through the hall. What did I answer?
No, that you did answer. If you can get me those statistics, and is there a plan as we move forward this year to be even more aggressive about giving out speeding tickets? I don't know how we govern the cost of speeding tickets? That's probably something that's controlled by the state. Is that, Scott, is that correct? They control how much we can charge for a speeding ticket?
I believe that's correct.
Okay,
We
so
don't have any.
is it a sliding scale, or is it just one
No.
price based on the road type?
Speeding tickets actually go up in price for the higher speeds. It's not a revenue generator, if you would say, for the city at all.
Well, not
It just
necessarily looking at revenue
always
generator.
goes
I'm
through
trying
the
to get
city.
people to slow down.
Yeah,
I'm trying to
the
change
tickets-
behaviors.
The tickets do go up with the higher your speed. The higher your speed, the higher the price of your ticket. And if you are above the speed by 20, you actually get a date to appear in front of a judge for a judge to decide what your punishment will be for that speeding ticket.
Okay, so
You
we are
can't
going
resolve
to
it on your
continue
own.
along the aggressive posture of giving out speeding tickets and not warnings. Okay, thank you. Thank you so
welcome.
much. All right. So we all know that there's an election coming up March 14th here in the city of Ocoee. We have District 1 being opposed, District 3 being opposed, District 4, as I will be resigning my seat to run for mayor, and so my seat will be actually coming up for re-election, or it'll be a special election. I believe that'd be like 90 days after this election. That right, Melanie?
That's correct. The charter requires that a special election be called by the city commission within 90 days after the vacancy of the seat.
Gotcha. So just a little information about voting percentages in the city. We typically have, in most elections, 6 to 8% that comes out. We have 50,000 residents, with probably half of them being registered voters. So we definitely want to look at increasing our numbers. So again, it's about exercising your right to vote. We actually have, again, between 4 and 6% coming out. If we can increase that to 15 to 20%, maybe even 30%, then we can actually start setting the precedents for the other cities around us to say, hey, Ocoee's getting out to vote. So again, it's not about who you vote for, it's a matter of you exercising that vote. So it's very important that we change those numbers, change those percentages, get out and exercise your right to vote. Your vote is your voice. Early voting starts March 6th through Friday, March 10th. You can actually get more information about early voting at the Supervisor of Elections Office. We don't have early voting in the city of Ocoee. You have to go to the Supervisor of Elections Office in order to cast your early vote. And again, if you want more information about that, you can go to the Supervisor of Elections Office. It's at 119 West Cayley Street in Orlando. You can also give them a call, and they can give you all the information you need about early voting. And I have one last thing, and I shall leave you with this. I shall pass this way but once. Any good that I can do, or any kindness that I can show to any human being, let me do it now. Let me not defer, nor neglect it, for I shall not pass this way again. That was Stephen Gillette. He was a Quaker missionary. That's all I have, and I will turn it back over to the dais.
Commissioner Wilson.
Yes. Kind of to piggyback on what Commissioner Oliver just said. I find those speed signs, as many of you see them out in the streets, that tell you what speed you're going when you're going down the street. I bought those with my discretionary funds. Those run about $4,000 each. I know they're expensive, but I think they're a very valuable tool, and as any commissioner can use their funds to buy them. I'm sure there's a chief shaking your head in the back. I kind of want another one. But I may have a few more within the city in my 2 years left. But those are very expensive, but again, I think they're a very valuable tool to notify folks when they're going down the street, especially on Orlando Avenue, going 30 miles an hour. The other thing I'd like to bring up is, I'm going to direct this to the city manager. As Mr. Moyer brought up about the Black History Essay Contest, is it something that we can ask support services to implement this year while we're reorganizing our HRDV board and running that event? I know that they did Martin Luther King event, and it was very well received. And I would hope that they could do the same thing with the Black History Essay Contest for the children, so that we can, again, continue the momentum that we have.
Yes, Commissioner, I think that can be done, and I know we spoke briefly about it. I think some of the issues that we wanted to bring forward to the commission were who would actually be the judges, and some of those logistical type things. until we actually get the winners in here and we, post essays and that type of thing. So if you want to give some leeway to staff, we can possibly come up with something. Maybe have principals in the schools be judges and submit to us the ones that they've decided are the winners. And we probably just have to move quickly, though, because it's already the beginning of February.
I think, honestly, I think I have spoke to you and I spoke to support services, that I think it can eventually be done. Again, yes, speed and like dealing with the schools. So I think if we can get the consensus of the, if you don't mind, Mayor, I'm sorry, I don't mean to take over your space there. The consensus, the commission, that we ask support services to implement I guess an abbreviated program, and that we're kind of time sensitive. And hopefully we can bring the winners up before our commission meeting, and until we, again, implement our HRDV.
You can hit that up.
I'll be happy to work with them.
Consensus to do that, everybody okay?
Yeah.
Yep. All right.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I'll go ahead, I'll work with Doug and Joy tomorrow. I'll talk to them. The other aspect, just wanted to go ahead, we're going to plan, I guess with the consensus of the commission, to put it on the calendar that with the police department and with the women's club and the Lions Club, that we've planned 2 shred events, and they are March 18th in next month, and also September 16th, so we can get those on the calendar, and then we'll be planning them just as we have the last shred events, blocking off the street for the morning hours. And again, it's a wonderful program with the police department where folks can dispose of their sensitive information. So if the commission's okay with that, we'll put those on the calendar.
Consensus again?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, everybody's good? Okay, that's all. Thank you very much.
I want to call off a couple of things. One of them was the police awards banquet last Friday night. That was they had a crowd, a real big crowd. It turned out great. I don't know if I think Commissioner Brinson, you were there.
Yes, sir.
So it was super. They had a lot of people there, and a lot of people got awards, and we appreciate our police department. They're one of the top in the area. So once again, thanks, Chief. The other is Saturday night we had a APCO, which that was not a city event. That was Joseph McMullen, who's the commissioner in Oakland. He put it on through HAPCO, which I've donated money every year for the last 10 years probably. But he puts on a jazz night, which was super the other night. They had a great time, great place. Some people might not like some of the things to go, but they organized it. They were first time doing that the way they did it. So I think every year they'll get a little better at it. But it was an enjoyable evening. The weather was a little nippy, but people had a good time, and the music was super. Those young people from the Ocoee High School band are just great with the jazz music. And then you got UCF Flying Horse Band, which they're really great. So it was something we need to get a lot more people to come out to that and function for that. It turned out great. Joseph does a great job for doing that. I think the campaigning time is here, so there's always all kind of little stories, so we won't get into them, but I just want everybody to know the voters. We have 31,000 roughly voters in this city. If you got 4 districts and you time it up for about 8,000 per district, we got about 31,000. And I, as the rest of you, would love to see the turnout way better than what it does happen. So we're trying to do that. We're sending out material. We're sending out things to do that. We have to get citizens out to vote in the city, but you can only go so far and not have interference and all this stuff. But they are, like I said, 31,000 people. That's a lot of voters. Even if we have 50,000, there's a lot of people are coming on board to vote. So once again, please go vote. March the 14th will be, is it the, Melanie, I know it's at the firehouse on McGuire Road, and then it's going to be at Lakeshore Center and at Beach Center.
So districts 1 and 4 would be voting at the Jim Beach Center. District 2 would be voting at the Ocoee Lakeshore Center, and District 3 would be voting at Fire Station 39 on McGuire Road.
All right, good. So we could need to post that on our TV?
We do.
Okay, thank you. So once again, thank you for being here tonight, all of you. So we'll, no more comments, we're gonna call it an evening. Thank you.